In this video, I will explain one of action-reaction theory's more intriguing and inspiring theorems, the voluntary action theorem. The voluntary action theorem states that any found action is a voluntary action of any found feeling. In more simple language, for those of you unfamiliar with the theory, the voluntary action theorem is stating that any action that has ever existed, exists, or will exist is a voluntary action of any feeling that has ever existed, exists, or will exist. This result is no doubt counterintuitive, as we would only like to think of only a few actions out of the whole world to be voluntary actions of a feeling. The voluntary action theorem plays on universal causation and feelings. If a voluntary action is defined as an action caused by somebody's found feelings, then by the universal causation theorem, all found actions must be voluntary actions of that person's feelings, since everything found is causing everything found. The voluntary action theorem implies that your reading of a book is a voluntary action of your friend's feelings. It implies that somebody strolling through a park is a voluntary action of them feeling stressed and wanting relief. It implies that the activity of a jellyfish is a voluntary action of the jellyfish's survival instincts. It implies that the rotation of the earth is a voluntary action of your own feelings. As you can see, the voluntary action theorem implies that even the actions of inanimate objects, such as the earth, rocks, or water, are voluntary actions of people's feelings. The voluntary action theorem thus implies a sort of psychokinesis. It implies that we can make objects do things using our own feelings and mental power, and thus we can make those objects do those things via our own will, almost like a psychic. It may sound like a stretch of the truth, but it's true. The voluntary action theorem guarantees it. Through the voluntary action theorem, we can view any found action as being an extension of our own behavior. The action is performed with the power of our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, and is thus under our own control and discretion. Although under some conditions we may like to see certain actions as being involuntarily done and not under our control, because everything is causing everything, we help even the most seemingly involuntary actions get done. We do this naturally and voluntarily through our own power. The voluntary action theorem helps us prove some results closely connected to the fundamental theorem. It helps us to understand what makes our own behavior.